Hello Cowboys Nation, welcome to another video, and without further ado, let's get to another round of news from America's team. Dallas Cowboys roster review, quarterback position after free agency. It has been an interesting offseason for the Dallas Cowboys quarterback room. With Cooper Rush heading to the Ravens to serve as Lamar Jackson's backup in Baltimore, the Cowboys' quarterback depth chart currently consists of Dak Prescott, who is still rehabbing his surgically repaired hamstring, and Will Grier, who has started just 2 games in the NFL. With Trey Lance still a free agent, there is a chance he could return if his market stays cool leading up to the draft. But there have been multiple reports coming out this offseason that suggest Lance will be looking for an opportunity elsewhere due to how his tenure went with the Cowboys. Where does that leave the Cowboys? In an interesting spot, to say the least. When healthy, Dak Prescott has been a top 10 quarterback in the NFL in almost every season of his career, but the issue is he has not been healthy much over the last few years. In his last 3 years as the Cowboys starter, Prescott has missed significant time, 14 games, due to a broken thumb and the hamstring injury he suffered in 2024. Now more than ever, the Cowboys' backup quarterback spot holds more value than ever before since Prescott took over as the starter in 2016. At the moment, Will Grier is the backup on the roster. The free agent market still has a few intriguing options, including Lance, Drew Lock, Carson Wentz, and Joe Flacco, but it sure sounds like the Cowboys are eyeing the draft to find their quarterback too. The 2025 draft is one of the weaker quarterback classes we have seen in recent years, but there should be a few options available to the Cowboys throughout the draft to find their backup quarterback. Recently, Texas quarterback Quinn Ewers has been tied to the Cowboys as a potential target on day 2. Will Howard is another name to get familiar with if the Cowboys elect to use one of their day 2 picks on a quarterback. Day 3 of the draft should be littered with options at quarterback, but finding the right one will be key for the Cowboys to feel good about their quarterback room in 2025. Oregon quarterback Dillon Gabriel is one of the better options for Dallas to consider given his experience at the college level in multiple offensive systems. Gabriel lacks size and elite arm strength, but his accuracy, intelligence, and athleticism would be a quality option for the Cowboys to consider at some point in the 2025 draft. At the end of the day, like multiple other position groups, the Cowboys have to address the quarterback position with an NFL-ready player. Whether that comes from a veteran free agent still on the market or a young developmental option in the draft, it must be addressed before the Cowboys break for training camp. Cowboys preview new offensive identity under Schotty. For weeks, Dallas Cowboys head coach Brian Schottenheimer has preached a specific offensive philosophy for his first year at the helm. The Cowboys want to run the football in 2025. Signing 2 free agent running backs tells Cowboys Nation that the front office is buying into Schotty's mentality as they head into NFL draft scouting. Now the Cowboys players are buying in as well. One of those is the newly signed Miles Sanders, who spoke about the team's identify under Schotty and coordinator Clayton Adams. The plan for the offense is to go through the run, Sanders said. You don't get too many places where the offensive coordinator is an offensive line coach, and I know he's playing a big part in the plan. I'm excited. After the Cowboys' lackluster run game in 2024, a total revamp in the backfield will spark momentum that the team can thrive on with this ground mindset. But of course, the Cowboys still do not have a well-rounded roster, especially on offense. There still needs to be more depth on the offensive line, and many are not completely sold on the Sanders and Javonte Williams backfield tandem. While Sanders has had Pro Bowl-level production in his career, it's been a rough last 2 seasons. Williams is also just 24 years old and has not shown consistency as a lead back. Schotty wants to build around a primary running back, but as it stands, there will be a training camp competition for who gets that starting nod. Thankfully there is the draft, where Dallas is expected to target the O-line and add another running back to the mix to legitimize Schottenheimer and Sanders' game plans. For Sanders, it is safe to say he is excited about this new era of the Cowboys. 2025 Cowboys trade back scenario for a wide receiver too. The Dallas Cowboys trade back scenario for a second wide receiver rumors seem to be creeping out among fans. As all fans know, the Cowboys front office has brought in one wide receiver who has had a lackluster career, and that is being generous. Paris Campbell will not put any fear into opposing defenses. He can be a deep threat, but he has shown throughout his 7-year career that he is not a game changer. This signing shows that the Cowboys front office has not changed, and they still choose to go cheap when signing players. Several options are still available on the free agent market, including Keenan Allen, Stephon Diggs, Amari Cooper, and Tyler Lockett. The Dallas Cowboys front office could take an entirely different approach, avoid these big-name receivers and trade back in the NFL draft. A trade back with a couple of teams could lead to a top receiver who has established themselves in the NFL while staying in the draft's first round. Call up the LA Chargers. The Los Angeles Chargers may be a good phone call to make before the draft begins. The Chargers have an underperforming first-round draft pick on their roster, and rumors started in January that they may be ready to move on. Quentin Johnston entered the league in the 2023 NFL Draft as the 22nd selection. In 2 years with LA, he has 1,142 receiving yards, 10 touchdowns, and an average of 12.3 yards per reception. He plays outside 88% of the time, which would mesh well with CeeDee Lamb. One of the complaints about Johnston is drops, but he has only dropped 7.9% of his passes in the NFL. At 6 feet 4 inches and 215 pounds, Quentin Johnston is a big receiver with enough speed to get downfield and run slants. Johnston is big, fast, quick, and a yard after the catch threat. This would be a great complement to Lamb with the Cowboys. For every lousy play Quentin Johnston makes, he makes up for it with a big play, but having CeeDee Lamb take some of the heat across the middle from the slot would open the field for Johnston. A downfield threat with his size and athleticism could create a new element to the offense. If the Chargers are ready to move on from their young receiver, prying him away may not take much. A first-round pick swap would more than make up for Quentin Johnston's age and contract. The Cowboys would move from pick 12 to pick 22 in the 2025 NFL Draft. What do you think? Leave your like, tell us your opinion in the comments and subscribe to the channel.